Well, it is Labor Day 2020. Hate to say, but I think we're winding down our sailing season. And today's not the best of days to be out, probably. Certainly not one that Kathy would enjoy. Winds are blowing, 13 to 17 maybe. Kind of gusty from the north, which is bad for me for lots of reasons. But if it's 11 knots, it's not so bad. The waves haven't built up yet too much. There was a small craft advisory yesterday, but I think it's expired now. Waves are probably 2 foot, occasionally 4. So not horrible, I guess. We've got the full mainsail up. I've got a reef, actually 2 reefs in the jib, just to see how this works. And if we have to, we'll drop a reef in the mainsail. But like I said, it's right now it's 18 apparent. We're going 6 knots, almost 7. It's not too awful right now. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast this afternoon or till late today. And if the wind and the waves don't get much worse than this, I'll sail out a couple 10 miles so and back. So anyway, we'll have more later. I forgot my phone in the car, so I'm trying to tape with my iPad, which is a little bit harder to hold on to. But I bet the quality is really good. So anyway, we'll see you a little bit later once we see how this wind's going to shake out. So the wind's blowing a pretty consistent 16 to 18 knots. There's a big one. Seas are, like I said, 2 to 4, maybe occasionally 6. You're over winds as high as 19 just now, but pretty consistent around 16 to 18. And we're still flying a full main and a double reef jib. It's not too hard to control yet. Waves are quite disruptive. When I turn around, I may actually try to put a reef in the main. A single reef might be a good thing for the motor or for the sail bag. Anyway, not too bad. Like I said, it's not ideal conditions today, but we are getting really close to the end of the season. I figured I'd better take advantage of anything any day I can. We didn't get out at all this weekend other than today. So here we are. At least here I am anyway. I don't really think there's a good way to capture the waves out here, but I'm just gonna let the camera roll for a minute on the leeward side of the boat. So when some of these waves come through, about the only thing that shows up on the film video is the white water that kind of splashes after the wave passes under us. It's a little hard to capture what's happening here. There's a big one. It's kind of a combination of the winds and the waves, which are getting a little bit bigger probably. Like I said, really hard for you to see it other than white water that kind of rolls underneath us when a big one goes high side, you don't really see a whole lot other than the boat moves up and down a lot. Occasionally you see a spray from one that slaps the hull hard, I guess. But anyway, the depth of the waves just does not show up on video at all. It all looks pretty flat when you look out there. But it's not. So the winds are still blowing about 17. We've gone about a little over 5 miles, 5.5 miles in 56 minutes. We're making some good speed. I think I'll go no more than an hour and a half before I turn around. I think I'd still like to reef that mainsail if I could. When I turn up into the wind, I'll probably start the engine, set the autopilot, let it hold us hopefully into the wind a little bit, and drop that mainsail and reef it. Not too bad, but I think it'd be a little more comfortable with a reef. We've hit a top speed of 7.7, I think it was, and we have a moving average of 6 knots, which is super fast for this boat. The hull speed is supposed to be 6.9. Like I said, we're doing a lot of surfing today, going down waves that actually allow us to go faster than the boat normally goes through the water. So 7.7, that's probably an all-time speed record for me and Tally Ho. But anyway, so more later, we're gonna put the camera down and keep sailing a little bit farther. All right, well, we're hove to. Wind's still blowing 16, 17, whatever. So I turned around, I tacked. I let the jib backwind, so you can see it's not set right for this tack, but that's called a backwind. And then I've eased the main sheet out so that the mainsail is just really luffing. It's not doing anything. It just kind of helps hold the boat in this orientation of the wind, I guess. We're moving about 2.5 to 3 knots. But the whole idea behind heaving to is it, gives you a chance to get a little rest while instead of, screaming along at 7 knots, I can take a little pause here. What I'm going to try to do is lower the mainsail and put a reef in. So I've not tried that like this before, so it might work. But then once we do that, then we'll pull that sail back in tight, and we'll let the jib go to the other side, and then we can scream along at 6 knots the other direction. So you can see the sea state out there. We got white caps. That's a hint to the viewer that, yep, it's a little bit choppy out here. But when we're hove to, we don't quite feel those waves as big. I don't know why, but we don't. Full keel sailboats, they say that even on the ocean, if they heave to, 20-foot waves just kind of dissipate in front of them. And I think it has something to do with the keel. We don't get quite that same action, with the little fin keel boat like Tally Ho, but it does seem like it's a little bit more manageable. You can see we're still rocking and rolling, but anyway, so I'm going to turn the autopilot on. It does not like this kind of wave action. It struggles. But if it can kind of hold us while I try to drop that main down to the reef in, that'll be good. So we'll give that a try, and we'll check back in with you shortly. All right, well, we got a reef in the jib, or in the mainsail now. And we left the reef in the jib, double reef in the jib. Whew. It's a good thing. I mean, the wind's still blowing about 17, sometimes 20. Probably a little bit upwind, and the waves are kind of quartering the waves a little bit, which is actually good. A little bit easier to plow through them instead of rolling sideways, rolling over them. But it does put a little spray up on the deck. And even with the reef, we're making, 6.5, 7.2. Our moving average slowed down a bit because it took a few minutes to kind of get all the sails figured out, get the mainsail reefed properly. I put it on the reef hook and started to raise it, and it fell off, and drop it again. Anyway, windy conditions, pretty choppy out here, but the boat's handling it really well. With that reef in the main, she's much easier to handle. Could probably even hang on in a big wave. Could probably even do a second reef if we wanted to, but I think that would be too small. Now that we know what we're doing, we could do that. I was able to drop that sail very easily with even though we were hove to. That new Tights strong track system makes raising and lowering that thing even or a hard angle a whole lot easier. Could not have done that with the old one. And then raising it was no problem. The other good thing was I had re-ran the main sheet through some blocks a little differently this weekend. It dawned on me there was something wrong with the way it was rigged up. It didn't flow easily, and so I rerouted that, and it works great now. You saw when we hove to that main sheet was all the way out. I didn't have to push it or force it or anything. So all in all, it's a good day so far. The challenge will be docking this afternoon. I'm hoping some buddies are hanging around, and I hope I can get close enough for them to grab a rope. But we'll see. Wind's going to push me off the dock significantly. Unless I get lucky and it's not blowing so hard in the marina. When I get up there and drop the sails, before I motor in, I'm going to get a couple extra lines out so that I can throw them a line if I'm too far away from the dock for them to grab a hold of me. See if that works. There's nobody in the slip next to me, so if anything happened, I would just bail out kind of and drift into the slip right next to me up against that dock. I've done it before. Not pretty, but I've done it before. I try to do a little better today if that's what happens. If there's no boat in there, I can do that. Alright, that's it for me. I'm going to put this camera down and keep sailing.